Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to talk about, reviews, in particular, my reviews. As you know, or as you may or may not be aware, I do a lot of reviews on this channel. I review a lot of TV shows. I review some movies too, mainly it's superhero movies that I mainly review, but nevertheless, I digress. The fact of the matter is, I just want to talk about the fact is, how I go about my reviews. I try to go about them a way that I enjoy, and that's like how most people might go about a review is they'll break down like, oh, maybe the performance, the story, the writing, this and that. Like, I'm one of those people who kind of doesn't get too caught up in that. Like, and nothing against anyone who does, but it's just for me, I've never been like that when it comes to review. That's why I don't like reviews in general. Like, sometimes I'll listen to some, but like even something as simple as like, oh, I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 5. It's like, I don't like doing that. I don't even like doing that with video games. It's like, if I like something, I like something, and I will recommend it, but I'll never be like, oh, like this is a 10 out of 10, or like, oh my god, the acting in this was terrible, blah, 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 blah. Like, people have their issues with certain things like that. Like, people view things like that. It's just, I don't view things like that. I choose not to. Maybe it's not even choose to. I just don't look at, movies and TV shows that way. Like, every once in a while, I'll bring up like, oh, like this performance was amazing. I don't really do it that often. It'll come up probably every once in a while, but it's never just one of my like criterias for when it comes to reviewing stuff. I don't have a criteria. I'm just like, hey, did I like this thing? Cool, I want to talk about it. That's all it is. It's just been about like, fun and just having discussions about, holy crap, I just saw this thing. These are my thoughts. Hey, this is what I thought might go down, but this is what ended up happening. And just like, oh, what does this thing that happened, what does this potentially mean for this character or this story going forward? That's how I approach literally every review I do, just because I don't want to grade things. I'm not here like, because I feel weird critiquing stuff, because that's not what I want to do. And once again, nothing against anyone who does. Like, people who are able to do that, it's like more power to them. It's just that's not the type of reviews I like to listen to, because sometimes I'll make exceptions, but more often than not, I just want to listen to a review where people just talk about like their thoughts about something, and that's just kind of how I reflect my reviews. So I don't want anyone to come into my reviews, and have the misunderstanding like, oh, they're going to get some like great in-depth breakdown. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't know. I try to recap the episode and share my thoughts on the events that went down, but that's, I don't want anyone to think like, oh, like I'm going to be like the, litmus test of like whether you should watch this certain thing or not. It's like I said, I like something, I'll be like, hey, I recommend you check this out. I'm never going to be like, oh, skip this episode or skip this show. Like, that's not me. Once again, nothing to anyone who does, not anything against anyone who does that, but that's how I approach the whole situation, And I find myself very fortunate to be in a situation where I feel like a lot of people, kind of flow with that. Like, once again, there's people who'll be like, oh, I didn't like the acting, I didn't really like the writing. Once again, 100% entitled to feel that way, but more often than not, when I talk to people, when it comes to these TV shows and stuff like that, people are just being like, oh, what they thought about this and that. I think a lot of people don't get too caught up in that stuff either. Maybe I'm just kind of like your average Joe schmo when it comes to the whole like review situation, but whatever the case may be, like I said, it's just that's how I choose to kind of go about my reviews. That's how I view TV and movies anyway. I'm one of those people who try not to look too deep into something, because I'm like, I don't want to ruin the movie or TV match. I'm just the type of person who gets invested heavily in whatever it is that I watch, because I know there are plenty of things that I watch TV show as well as movie wise that like, hey, I'm a big fan of, that I know a lot of people hate. So it's just, once again, it comes down to people's taste and what they like and what they don't. I can recognize people's criticisms or something, but even then I'm like, yeah, but that might be a criticism to you, but it didn't bother me. I actually kind of enjoy, so on and so forth. It's just, I figured I'd go ahead and throw this out there just in case anyone is coming across my reviews and wondering like, oh, why I go about things the way I do, which even I'll acknowledge I go about things a little weird, because I can be a little erratic. Well, I guess erratic would kind of be like the word, because I'm like all over the place, which that is a, worthwhile criticism I've gotten about the fact is I can be a little all over the place. It's just like, that's just how my brain works, how I can be a little scatterbrained when it comes to talking about TV shows and stuff like that. So, really, that's all there really was to this video. Nothing too special. I guess you could kind of think of this as a little bit of a, peek behind the curtain and just kind of give you a little more insight into how and why I approach the reviews the way I do, so. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good